So my team and I are in the midst of a last-minute panic of finishing up the last final details for the incredible 24-hour Extra Life live stream that is in a week from today. But I wanted to take this time to showcase some of the mods that I'm using on the event servers to create this amazing event, because I know a lot of people are going to be asking, what mod is it that does this, or what mod are you using there? And I'll hopefully be able to make more videos later about some of the other mods, but today I'm going to go over the top 10 mods that I absolutely have to have on every one of my event servers. And the last two of them actually are ones that very few people have heard of and are some of the ones that we actually use the most. So make sure to stay around for those. So number one, and these are not in any particular order, by the way, either, but number one, I have admin box. Now this one is really useful. It's right here. I've already got one, but I'll show you how it works in just a second. So it looks like a normal vault, except it's got sparkles all around it, and it's got all this stuff in it. If I take everything out of it and pick it up, then that resets it. So now I have reset this. I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to load it up. This admin box, it will have the same inventory for each one that is placed down around the map by whatever admin places it. Only admins get this. It is automatically added to their inventory when they go into creative mode. And you can see I can just put one of each item in there and it automatically makes it a max size stack of that item, which is 500 here. It remembers what's in there. So now if I have all of these things in it, and let's add a couple of other things as well. And then if I pick this up, and now if I put one down, and I could be on a completely a different part of the map, whatever, if I place it down, it has all the same inventory in it again. So this is really nice for if you're decorating, for example, and you have a lot of different decorations from a lot of different mods, and you don't want to have to keep track of which crafting table has the recipe for which piece of decor. You can just preload your admin box with all of the decor you need for the project at hand, and then just set that down at the build site, use it wherever you need it. And then on to number two. Number two, we have the tech trough, the food regenerating tech trough. Now this one, it looks like a normal tech trough, but it does not require any boss fights or anything to unlock it. And it comes automatically pre-filled. In fact, you can't even open an inventory for it. And it will just keep the food topped up of any tames that you have within range of it. And then number four is something kind of along the same lines. It is this no fuel generator. This is a tech generator that powers everything and does not need any fuel. So if I just need to focus on building, if I have electric items that need power, I can just pop one of those down and not have to worry about it. And then on to number four is the tech bounce pad. Now, this one, it hasn't been updated in a little while, and I will admit that there's some textural issues with it sometimes with how it looks, but it still functions the way it should, even if sometimes it looks a little weird. But it's a direct port of the bounce pad from Genesis 2. You can set it to bounce people in whatever direction, and it works for any creature passing over it, which is super fun. In fact, I used it last year during Extra Life. I put some of those under the floor in a bounce house. Actually, I think that was the Christmas event. I put them under the floor in a bounce house, and I had monkeys bouncing around in there. It was a crazy, crazy event. Super fun, though. And then number five, we have filming helper. And this is another tiny mod that just adds one item. In this case, it's this invisibility potion, which this is supposed to be something that only admins can see and spawn in. That was a little bit of an oversight. Right now, the modder has it here in level 1, and anybody can craft it, so you may not want to add it if you have players that would abuse that. But Red Dwarf has told me that, next time he pushes an update to the mod, he will be fixing that. So hopefully by the time you see this or shortly thereafter, it should be fixed and should be available only to admins. But what it does is this invisibility potion lets me very simply and easily toggle myself to invisible. If I need to do admin stuff behind the scenes and don't want to be a distraction, or if I want to troll players during an event, there's all kinds of use cases for it, really. So for the admin gun, it doesn't make me visible even if I do that. But for some reason, regular guns, usually if I shoot with them, at least if I use the sight, I'll pop into visibility for myself. But that's just me. I'm still invisible to any other players. And that's the reason I like to have it in my hotbar, because I can just look down, and if the invisibility potion shows as pink, then that means that I am invisible. And if I hit again to toggle it to the green, then I know that I am visible. And so being able to do that quickly and simply behind the scenes for events is extremely handy. And then another must-have, absolutely cannot live without this mod. Ever since I found it like 4 years ago in ASC, I have loved this mod. It's been one of my favorites. Tiny, tiny little mod that does one thing and does it well, which, well, actually, he's added a couple more features onto it since then, but it scribbles better signs. And scribbles better signs is even better in ASA than it was in ASC. But I have had some people ask me, how do I make the scribble signs? I can't figure out how to make them. There's no engram for them. And you are correct. There is no engram for them. You don't have to unlock a special engram for them, because all you do is unlock the engram for the regular sign, either wood or metal, and then go through the options by hitting R, and you will get to these scribble signs. And so there's a bunch of different sizes and shapes, wall signs, billboards. This one is super handy, this admin billboard, because this admin billboard can be placed anywhere, even in places that normally building is blocked, even close to enemy tribe foundations, even places that are hard-coded to block all building, like in the portal zone in Aberration, for example. You can place these signs. So let's try this. Here, let's go through the middle ones. And so this one, you have to click it multiple times when you're putting it down, because you can set it up the way you want it. And then for each one that you place after that, you will save a lot of time in setting up those settings. So I clicked once for the location, and then now I can use the scroll wheel to determine the size that I want it to be, and click again, and then I can choose the font. And so then I can use my mouse scroll wheel to go through the font options, and there's like 50 of them now. It's kind of crazy. So you can, there's a Turtles one. All kinds of fun fonts. This one I like. And okay, so clicked once to select that, and then now I can select the font scale, how big I want the text to be. And the cool thing is, this doesn't have to be limited by the sign size either. I can put this all the way up to 5 if I want to, and then I can set the glow. By default, it's 0.1. I can put it all the way up to 1 or higher and make it basically glow like a neon sign, just the letters that are on it. And click to place that. And there we go. And this is actually metal, even though it looks like a frontier sign. And then now we can set the text. And we have a lot of space for text with this one. And it's kind of crazy how much you can actually type for this. See, all of this text, you could not put this much text on a default sign. And look at that. That's kind of crazy. There we go. Let's just do hello. And look how big that is. And then I can go into here and I can change the font size, change any of those options after placing it as well. If I change my mind about something, if I decide that font is too big, 1.3 there, that looks about perfect. And if I want to, I can also paint the text or the signs. Usually I just paint the text, but all of it's paintable. The text is always color region 6, so the last one will be the text. And check this out. It's got this hide sign option. I can hit that and just have the text floating in midair. So that can be super handy for like putting arrows, showing directions on a racetrack. And that's also pretty cool. If you go to the other side it still shows as readable. It doesn't show the mirror image like you would think it would. So that's pretty cool. It does not have collision when the sign part is invisible. So you can't paint it or whatever. You have to make it visible again in order to paint it. And there is another thing that you can do with these that I just wanted to show really quick. Let's go to the square sign. That's the one. And I'm going to make it big, and the other settings I don't care about. There we go. Now let's go up to this. And there's another option here under scribbles. There we go. Set image URL. So I click on that. And then it's a little bit complicated at the first time you do it, but it's really not bad. You just have to have a direct link to an image, not a website that has an image, but a link just to the image. So the easiest way to do that, and how I've shown my team how to do it, is that basically you just have to upload it to Imgur and then open it in a separate tab, like right click on it and click open a new tab, and then right click it in that new tab and click copy image URL. And then you'll be able to paste it in here. So I have one that somebody grabbed for me earlier. Let's do this one. Make sure there's no space at the beginning there. There we go. And submit. There we go. And it downloads the whole actual image. And yes, thanks very much to Nitrato, who is the sponsor of my servers and also of the Extra Life stream that we are in the final stages of preparing for. You can also do all of the same things here with the wall signs. There we go. So you can do this with any image that you want. You can have your own logo. You could have a photo of your dog. You can do whatever you want. And it is cool because they're kind of lit up. It almost looks like a screen. Yeah, isn't that cool, Turtle? The turtle thinks it's cool too. So you know it must be pretty cool. And then next we have Nucleus. Now, Nucleus I have on all my servers as well. You'll see that it adds another little tab up here to my UI. And this little tab here, I can click on this. And if a person is not an admin, then they'll only see certain information in here that an admin wants to allow them to see. Like if they're not an admin, they could, for example, click on this and they could just see a list of the mods that are on the server, which can be really useful information. Or if you have it set up properly, you can set up a server info page for your server. This here, the book symbol, this is an encyclopedia of all the items that are in the game and all the creatures. It's kind of crazy. And the first time you load Nucleus, the first time you open this, your game will probably freeze for a little bit. It's okay. The reason why is because Nucleus is a tiny little mod. It's like 5 megabytes or something. It's basically just this UI that lets you see what's in the game code. Nucleus doesn't actually have any of this information. So Nucleus has to go out and scan all the code to see what's in the game, what you have available, both in both mods and in vanilla. And so you'll have to give it a little time to index the first time that you do it. And you can also force it to update that information if you've changed some mods, for example, and it's not seeing them all. Then there's options for having it re-index some stuff. But yeah, for example, if I need some element, if I need some kibble to put in something, all of the coding for the old style kibble is still in the game, which is kind of crazy. So it sees that, but then some of that, and you could put custom names for things. I could get up to 1,000, just give the player, and I've got 1,000 basic kibble in my inventory. Since I'm an admin, I can spawn things in. Players do not have that button down there. So in order to determine who gets admin access, I have to go to this dashboard here. I have to be in creative mode in order to be able to access this. And then I can determine who gets access to these permissions. And it shows me a list of all the players that have been on the server, and just there's their EOS ID. If you need that, it's right there. If I'm getting, say, a sniper rifle, for example, I can select that. I don't want 1,000 of those. Let's just do one. And I can say what quality I want it to be. So Ascended, 100 quality. I can have it be a blueprint if I want to. I can give it a custom name. So instead of sniper rifle, I want it to be called Pew Pew. And I can change the durability. I can change the damage and max it out, or I can just make it a little bit better. I can search players that are currently online, and I could just give this directly to the player in their inventory. This is me, so it's going to go into my inventory, and it did that. But I could also just give that to a player, which is pretty dang cool in my opinion. And you can also spawn in creatures. So let's see, the Thiacolio saddle, we'll grab one of those. Okay, and then Thiacolio. And you do have to read these carefully because some of the names of the items will give you a clue that it's not just the base game Thiacolio. So Thiacolio character BP Eden C, that's the R Thiacolio. That's the one that is for Genesis 2. It may be in the game as an entry, but it's not actually there to be spawned in just yet. It might be just the bare port from ASE. And yeah, you can see its fur is not supposed to be solid black like that. It hasn't been upgraded for Unreal Engine 5.5 just yet, but there's a listing for it in the game already. But let's go to the proper Thiacolio and we can customize it. We can determine what colors we want, or we can leave it default. I can just click the dice and randomize it a few times until I get one that I like. Now that one's pretty cool. Let's maybe change the tummy to, no, I don't want that one. Let's change it to, oh, that's really bright. It's actually kind of cool though. And instead of the dark turquoise on the back, let's change it out to the black. That looks pretty cool. And then I can go through the options here. Quantity, no, just one. Wild level, we'll say 150. So a max level, we'll spawn it in passive. Can determine if it's female, if it's neutered, if it's a baby, if it's tamed or not. So we could spawn in a wild one, but I'm going to click is tamed. I am the owner. It got 100% taming effectiveness and 100% imprinting. Custom name, if you wanted to give it a custom name before even spawning it. And then all of the points, you have to allocate all of its stat points, which you can just do with the dice, just do it randomly. And then if you want to, you can tweak that. If I was trying to make a really awesome Thyla to give to a player as a reward for a quest or some kind of mini game, then I can do that. I can take some points out of oxygen and food and movement speed and give it really good melee and health and stamina. And then I can click spawn and boom, there it is. And it is dark. That's better. You're kind of in my sign there, dude. So this is really handy when you're setting up events or when you're doing creative building and you just want some creatures for decorating. Very, very handy mod. I absolutely love Nucleus, and there's other features to it too that I'm not even touching on here. And then vegetation planters. This one, and after this one, we've got two more, which are fairly new ones that most people haven't heard of. So make sure you stick around for those ones as well, because they are awesome. But vegetation planters is one that I just cannot live without. I have loved this one ever since ASE days as well, and was so excited when the modder added it finally to ASA. Oh, gives me this plant gun. And then there's all these different planters. So let me just walk you through really quick how that works. I'm not going to show off all the planters, of course, because there are a lot of them. The one that I use the most, though, since I can basically terraform with it, is actually this rock planter. So let me grab this and actually let's go to this rock out here. And let's do a little terraforming, shall we? We'll put that planter down, and then I can take out the gun. And right now it's not connected, but I shoot it at that pot and now it is connected and it gives me a bunch of options. And if I forget the controls, they're down there at the bottom left corner of the screen. and I can change the modes. I can hit R to change the model. There's all of these different rocks available, different sizes, whatever. Let me get one of the bigger ones. Oh, that's a huge one. And I think we must be in a wintry region here because it's putting the snow on it automatically. I did not tell it to put snow. Actually, I don't want the snow. Let's move somewhere else. Let's go over to some of these rocky outcrops. How about that? And I love stuff like this because it kind of lets you get to feel like a game developer, even if you're not. You can just play around with making mini games within Ark and have a ton of fun with it. All right, so now I can hold down Alt and then use my scroll wheel to change the size of that particular item. N gives me options. So, for example, if I'm doing something where I only need the big rocks, then I can unselect all the smaller ones and it won't show those to me anymore. They won't come up on the list. I can have it switch between random types and have a random rotation and scale so that I can just place, and they'll look slightly different. They won't all look the same. And then never align with ground or always align with ground. Basically, what these are about is if you say never align with ground, then it will always say stay straight up and down no matter what you do. Always align with ground will make it follow the angle of the surface that you're trying to put it on. See, like that. Versus never align with ground. See, it keeps the same angle, which both can be really useful in certain situations. I'll just show you really quick the kinds of things that I can do with this. I use this a lot in the second event map, the Galactic Arcade event that we're doing for Extra Life. I use this to make some alien landscapes and the like. And you can remove rocks and stuff if you want to. If you change your mind, then you just right click to change to the delete mode and then click it again to connect to a different planter. So let's grab really quick here. Let's grab this one. Let's make a little beachy island and put this down, connect to that one. And now I have here, you know what? For the palm tree, I think I want to have it. Let's have it never align with ground. And I can put these palm trees wherever I want them. And these are not harvestable. You can't just place your own resource nodes and then go harvest them. And all of these are base game models. And so because of the fact that these are base game plants that it's letting you place, the mod itself is very small. It's I believe it's less than 25 megabytes. And the really cool thing about it, and this is the main reason it's a must-have on my event servers, is it doesn't create lag. It's very well optimized, and I'll show you why in just a second. The gist of it is that the game doesn't treat all of these different things that I'm placing as different objects. It treats them all as being the same object, essentially. So all of these things that I just placed, the game sees as being one thing. And basically, they're all connected to that beach planter that I just placed. And all the rocks are connected to the rock planter. They render as a chunk like the base game foliage does. You do have to plan, though, on where you put the pot, because the pot has to stay because everything is connected to that pot. So let me show you what happens if you pick up the pot. See? Everything connected to that pot goes with it. So you do have to be aware of that and plan on putting the pot in a safe place. If you don't like the way the pot looks, you can always snap something else over it. You can even hide the foliage that's in it if you want to, like that. And then you can make it look like just an empty pot, or you can put other stuff in it. Like this one is a mushroom planter. And so I can put all kinds of mushrooms all over, and here, let's put blue mushrooms in this pot and make it look like they're there. So anyway, you get the idea. There's tons of different planters with foliage from different biomes. And you can very quickly terraform and just create an entirely new environment in a way that doesn't add lag. So yeah, very awesome mod. Highly recommend. Can't live without that one, and I have it on all my servers. And then the last two are mods that, like I was saying, most people haven't heard of. I happen to know there's a racetrack elsewhere on this server that is using some of the features of it, so I'm going to go and find that. I'm not going to show you all the features because it would be a very long video. Maybe someday I'll make the very long video, but for now, I am not going to do so. All right. The first mod here is called Racing Babies by Dutch modder Mob Events. And this is what the box looks like. The box for the mod, it looks like an Extra Life logo. And place that. Only an admin can craft that. And then it has all of these really fun items in it. So first off, I absolutely love this finish line that it adds to the mod. That it adds to the event server here. It adds an actual finish line that when I go through it, it posts a server message, which makes it so that even if an admin is not there at the finish line to see who finished first, you'll know who won the race. And then this, I'm trying to remember what this is. Somebody else. Ah, that's right. This spawns in a creature and puts me on it, and for some reason also splatters paint everywhere temporarily. But the mod comes with its own variety of racing dinos, which are pretty much all resized versions of base game creatures. So we have tiny, tiny little Karchars, which, by the way, can jump as well, unlike regular Karchars. And they can bite as hard as a regular Karchar, which is kind of ridiculous. It knocked me off, and there we go. There's different ones that will spawn different creatures. So here we have Dumbo, who is a mini mammoth that can also jump. And right here, we have some of the various power-ups that you can place. And you can kind of create your own mini games that are a little bit like the Genesis missions or something like that. Now, these ones are recently added, and this one gives me a buff that says, I feel cosmic. See, look, it gives me the low gravity buff as if I was in the Genesis lunar biome. Whee! Low gravity, flying elephants. And this one here, some of them are not so good and give you bad effects. That one is not doing it right now, though. I think that was supposed to be one of the ones that gives me it's probably because I'm in GCM. It's supposed to give you the mushroom hallucination effect. There we go. As like on Aberration. So you can put those around in your racetrack as well to prank players for a little bit. And then if your racetrack is a little long and you want to speed things up a bit, woo, we have some speed boosts. We can go super fast. Super fast elephants speeding across the desert. Whee! And you'll have to look for yourself at what all types of creatures are included in the mod. There are a ton of options, and a lot of them are hilarious. There are rideable versions of all the light pets from Aberration. There's a lot of things that are normally big that it makes tiny, and things that are normally tiny that it makes big. There's a rideable compy. Oh, that was a death worm. Let's get out of here, shall we? Whee! Oh, we missed that one. Oops. Well, we can make it to the super power-up over here. Whee! So this will be a goofy, crazy race, but you get the general gist. I'm not going to run the whole racetrack. And those are just a few of the options in this mod. So we got lots of those different power-ups. And there's also a ring that will heal your dinos as you go through it. There's also one that drains stamina, and there's one that gives a stamina boost. There's a bunch of different ones so that you can make really awesome mini games and racetracks. Oh, and another thing that it adds for making racetracks. Oh, now I believe this is the one that gets rid of the lunar buff. Yes. Okay, there we go. This is really nice for building racetracks because they're gigantic building pieces. So if you're trying to build a track or some kind of structure for your event, you can do that pretty dang quickly, and none of them require foundation support either. So I can demolish the foundations after I place them. And the nice thing is, since these are just sized up vanilla building pieces, I can put skins on these. I can use regular cosmetics on them. Like, this is Ancient High Tech There are no walls because it's not really meant for building like a base or whatever. There's ceilings of different sizes, and there are ramps and then steeper ones, which are the roof angle. And then there's also, this is super fun, there are slides at these same angles as well. They may look the same, but they are not. So like I can run up this guy like I could a regular ramp, but then over this one, I cannot walk on it. It just makes you slide. In just a second, I'm going to show you another mod by the same modder, his more recent one that he's been working on. And I haven't used this one over on this map, so I'm going to go somewhere else. All right, I'm back, and I'm in an event that I've been building over on one of my other event servers on Astraeos. This particular mini game is one where I used a whole bunch of these mods that I've been telling you about. So that was the slides from Racing Babies, and here we've got a bunch of the jump pads. You can see I've also got a lot of structure cosmetics in use. Then these are from the mod that I was about to tell you about, Maze Builder, Maze-O, and it's got a bunch of different things that you can use for basically crafting your own crazy dungeon type builds. So these are not actually the original jump pads. These are a different type of jump pad. We've got some creature spawners, and I'll show you some of the different things. We've got foundations that have lava that actually gives damage. This here it's called basic platforming. And yeah, the box looks pretty cool too, doesn't it? But yeah, it's got moving platforms. And these moving platforms, when you set them up, they all move by default 4 ceiling widths, either just 4 ceiling widths forward and backwards, or you can set them so that they'll go up and forward or just up. So they can also go 4 walls high. It's pretty fun being able to create platformer type games in Ark. You can't put structure cosmetics on them, but you can change the material in here. This is from Racing Babies. Racing Babies also includes a gigantic teleport here, which just pops you up. So yeah, those are all Racing Babies. Up here is something that I wanted to show you also that is from this mod. It is a very special sort of door. I put the sign on there. That's from Scribble's Signs to give people instructions. But you hit the button and the block goes up. And then it counts. And falls with a resounding thud. And the door is somewhat limited because there can only be one of each kind of door. There's door A and door B. There can only be one of each on every map, so you can't use a whole bunch of them. I think it would cause crashes or something. So anyway, it's set up so that you can only have one of each, but in the right spot, they can definitely create some cool effects. And got some fun cosmetics on another slide. And then this is another thing. You can place spike traps that actually move. So those are fun. If you want to see what all of this is for and what kind of mini games we'll be playing with this stuff and these critters, which these are also from, these are a combination of 2 mods, actually. These are the rideable goats from Racing Babies, but I made them into shinies using the Shiny Dinos mod. So they are flaming little goats. We've got more Racing Babies, gigantic ceilings and slides, more of the speedy thingies, speed boosts, which yes, they work even if you're on foot. One of the big gigantic rib cages from Vegetation Planters. And the deco, this is from the Roman Decor custom cosmetic. And these pillars are actually from Pony's Grecian architecture, which is a really fun mod for if you're wanting to do Greek style builds. This here, yeah, this is also from the Roman premium cosmetic mod. And this is one of the things I wanted to show you, that these are what the jump pads from the race mod look like. Are they in there? No, I guess they're in the maze mod. Yeah, these ones. These jump pads with different strengths. They look like ceilings like this. And then if you run over them, they just bounce you. And these shiny squares that are on the ground, those are something else. Those are creature spawners. So as you're bouncing around through here, when you run over those, you'll spawn in creatures behind you. So yeah, you can see some of the cool things that you can do with these mods to create unforgettable events in Ark. Make your own mini games within the amazing game that is Ark, to just come up with your own creative ideas and build your own tracks and memorable events. And I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, make sure to hit the like button. And I hope that you will come and watch the live stream, the 24-hour live stream that I am putting together with a huge team of volunteers and other content creators. And that will be starting on Friday, November 7th, 2025, and going until 24 hours later on November 8th. And it should be a ton of fun. I've got 5 different servers thanks to Nitrado. It'll be a fun time, and hopefully we'll raise a lot of money to help a lot of sick kids. And if you're watching this after that date has already passed, then I'll link the playlist of the videos from that. And if you watch to this point, please leave a fire emoji in the comments. And thanks so much to my Patreons and channel members for your support. It means the absolute world to me. And I'm going to shout out a couple by name here. Thanks so much to Xanth the Spatulord and Stupid Paintings by Dave, Alley Cat, Steve G, Wayward Colt, and Slayer Xena. You guys are absolutely the best. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time, and bye-bye for now.